Hey guys, what's up? Brandon here, Kata Trading. So I want to do a quick breakdown of a trade again that I just took. So I am very likely to be stopped out in profit on my gold trade that I'm also in. But I just took this trade. A student and I was in a class with this student and we were discussing this. And yeah, I feel like this has some merit. Now, I'm not just going to take the trade and tell you I took the trade. I want to break down as to why I took it, right? And the student also took it, right? Now, what I first want to identify is the main thing that I look for is direction in my favor, right? Or momentum in my favor direction. So, the first and most important thing about this is to identify where GBPUSD is going. So when I hop up to the monthly time frame, on the monthly time frame, when you zoom out all the way, you're going to notice that GU, ever since its inception, has been a bear market, and up until recently, it's been bullish, but also had a very big aggressive rejection to the top side, and that would have happened in July. And since July, it has yet to recover back to the top side, having only pushed back down since. Now, this month of October ends today. This monthly candle literally closes in about 7 hours, right? And it looks like some indecision, but I wouldn't trust this as indecision just yet. A lot of people, a lot of traders, I think, would look at this and say that's a doji and that's not necessarily a good candle to enter on. But you see, what you're not doing is identifying or investigating what's happening within this candle. What I also want you to remember is what happens in this candle, you can identify that by going in all the time frames underneath it. So this candle means nothing until you identify or investigate all of the time frames underneath. So that being said, let's walk down to the weekly. So the weekly time frame has 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. The last 4 weeks starting to consolidate a little bit, but having big rejections to the top side, some rejection to the downside, but mostly rejections to the top side, with some engulfing candles even being produced in there to the downside, which is good for myself. Now, what is interesting is, again, all of the weeks leading up to this consolidation could mean a few things. It could mean that it's bearish and it's just trying to stumble a little bit to capture some liquidity. It could also mean that maybe it's going to come back up, and this stumbling is it just doesn't have enough energy to keep going back down. But again, I want to keep investigating and I want to focus my energy primarily on this candle because that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with this week, right? This week's candle has 3 days again before it closes. So let's identify. Let's go in. So on the daily candle now, or the daily time frame, you have today, which is Tuesday, and you have the last day, which is Monday. Now Monday would have had a rejection to the downside, and then last week Thursday would have had some rejections to the downside as well. But the problem is, what if, and I don't know if you're seeing this, what if you had an induction to buy from the dealer's perspective? What if the dealer was trying to induce traders to buy in here? Now remember, GBPUSD is a bear market as of right now. Very important. So anytime you feel like the dealer is trying to get you to buy, that could be a trap. But I'm not going to stay right here because I'm not seeing any information on this time frame that's adding to the analysis. So I'm going to keep walking down. When I come down to the forward time frame, all of a sudden it becomes a little more clear. So I'm going to adjust the trend now, and all of a sudden it looks just like a trend that's actually starting to form. But it hasn't formed the third tap yet, or it hasn't created the third tap yet, suggesting that it could still have further buyer induction. But we'll adjust that just now. What I'm actually really interested in is this here. So I'll ask the question, who do you think is interested in the market here? Now you might be able to see it just yet, but I'm gonna come down again. Let's come to the 1 hour time frame. On the 1 hour time frame, I think it becomes a little more clear on who might have been interested at this level. Can you see it? Or can you see what I think I'm seeing? First things first, sellers, breakout, retest that fail right here, more sellers, more sellers, more sellers, and then stop out those sellers because the stop losses of all these sellers will be right above here, right? stop out all of these sellers with this move, and then start to dump the market. Because again, GU is a bear market. So when I come down to the 15-minute time frame now, all of that bear momentum makes a lot of sense because it's not only in synchronization with the overall direction of the market, it makes sense that it has already dealt with the sellers who were interested in sells but got the timing off. And now it's actually selling because it's in momentum. Now, I wouldn't even doubt if right here this trade starts to go into consolidation, because remember we have the trend line right here. Remember that? We just spoke about that. We have the trend line passing right here, which means the dealer is very likely to try to induce buyers on this level because he needs to keep energy in the market somehow. So, what better way to keep energy by inducing the buyer to buy? Put your money in, insert your feelings, insert your emotions right here. So I wouldn't even be surprised if the position starts to accumulate, consolidate right around or along this trend line before it drops. But I digress. That's why I took the sell. I took the sell because I thought that I had the best potential entry. Now, one other thing I want to discuss. Why would I put my stop loss so wide? Now, I have no intention on closing this trade right now. My first and most important target is right here. That makes sense. But ultimately, I think that you could actually have or you can benefit from selling GU for quite some time because literally this is a very, very, very small target, all things considered. If it is to keep going, it could keep going for hundreds of pips if we are right about the direction. So, all things considered, a 62 pip stop is not that bad, right? Uh, you might say that it's quite a big stop, but it varies. It varies on how long you intend on holding it, and it varies on what even your goal is, right? Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And yeah.